I'm ready.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this webinar with Mr. Oli. My name is Upendra. I represent Edup Connect over here. We conduct the webinars. We conduct study visit to different countries like Finland. And as we all know, Finland has an education system which is a kind of an example they have set in front of world. So we'll take some glimpse of pre-primary education and primary education, how they actually work on the pre-primary education, how they actually analyze the growth of the student, how they actually build the learning habits in the pre-primary education. And if give you the short brief about Mr. Oli, Mr. Oli is the teacher, and they have been with school. They have started now their own firm with which helps the pre-primary schooling as well. So I won't take a lot of time since we have just 1 hour and we have spent 4 minutes till now. I'll pass this to Mr. Oli. He'll take ahead from there.
Perfect. Thank you, Upender. So, hello everyone, and welcome on my behalf as well. I'm really excited to have the chance to share with you some of the unique aspect of the Finnish education, and also like why it has gained just interest around the world. So, as you already heard, my name is Olli Kamunen. I'm here on the behalf of Onni Education, which is our Finnish startup company dedicated to kind of like a fostering the well-being and innovative learning in education. Also, the first, I would like to extend a special thank you to our partner, Edup Connect, for bringing us together today. And we truly value this collaboration and the opportunity to connect with you all. So today, in today's session, we will go beyond the classroom and explore what makes the Finnish education system so special. From its core values to the practices that supports like a student's well-being and lifelong success. Today, I also mention about the Finland approaches to education that emphasize the both academic growth, but also the personal happiness. And I really believe that this balance is one of the things that has contributed to our high rankings in both educational quality and also that we are the world happiest country at the moment. So over this next 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I will guide you through an overview of our education model. I will also share some insight into the unique Finnish practices and also discuss the benefits of experiencing these practices in first hand. So I encourage you to ask questions. You can write them into the chat screen and also to think about how these ideas might connect with your own educational goals. So let's begin by looking at who we are at Onni Education, and I also give a little bit more detailed introduction of myself as well. So I would like to start by introducing our company, Onni Education. The Onni Education is a Finnish startup company founded by the team of parents and an education expert with an extensive experience in teaching and supporting families and also advancing educational practices. We are also honored to be a certified member of the Finnish government Education Finland program. And this helps us to maintain a strong connection across Finland's education sector. And these connections are vital in our mission to bring the Finnish educational insight and innovations to partners worldwide. The Finnish name Onni, it means happiness. And that word truly kind of like reflects our core mission to promote well-being and happiness through education. And our focus is on creating learning experiences that go kind of like beyond traditional academics and supporting children's and youth well-being and also the personal growth. So one of our key initiatives involves organizing a kind of like a tailored study visit here in Finland, which kind of like are designed to showcase how the Finnish educators here in Finland, how do we prioritize the children and youth happiness and well-being in the learning environments. So these visits are kind of like a crafted for educational leaders and educators, teachers like yourself, who are curious to learn about the holistic approach to education and also explore the practices that place the well-being and heart of the student development. So today, I'm excited to share you with this insight into the Finnish education model and also some unique practices that have been successful fostering the well-being and educational growth. And also, like I say, that a few words of myself. So my name is Olli Kamunen, and like Mr. Upender mentioned, that I'm also an educator. I'm also a teacher, but I'm also a father of the three wonderful daughters, and my family life is diverse. My oldest daughter is today turning 20. She's celebrating her birthday, and my youngest one has started just school at the age of 7. Currently, I'm also pursuing my PhD. I'm doing my research where I'm focusing on the professional identity and work motivation. These topics that I find truly fascinating because I believe that they understand to help us to learn how to find purpose and fulfillment in what we do. And I really believe that is really essential when we talk about the education. So I have over 20 years of experience in education. I have a privilege of working across the globe as well. I have been working in USA, also in Vietnam and in China and in Tunis. And these experiences have given me kind of like a valuable insight into the different cultures and also the educational practices. And that way, kind of like we can connect to make learning more impactful. I would also like to say that why I have chosen to become an educator, because for me, the education is about the transformation. I mean that it's not just about passing knowledge, but it's more by kind of like helping the individuals to realize their own potential. And in Finland, we kind of like encourage our students to think critically and also to find their passion. And kind of like I'm here to make that difference, and not only by teaching, but also empowering the people to live more fulfilling and meaningful lives. And that's something that I find my passion with. Okay, so here there was a short introduction about our company, who we are, and also about me, what we do, and now we can move on for the topics of today. So the first of all, I would like you to think about Finland, and I think there is something that you already know about it, and maybe some of you can locate it in here in this word map. So I would love to take a minute to share what you already know about the Finland in the chat screen. So feel free to type anything that comes to your mind, and maybe something about the Finland's geography or culture, or even a word that you associate with Finland. And if you have a possibility to write that in the chat screen, I would be more than happy to kind of like see what you already know about Finland. And after that, I will use the pointer to highlight where the Finland is located, and let's see what you already know. Okay, here's coming the few things already in the chat screen. Gate-weighted art. Yes, Alvar Aalto, one of my favorite as well. Home of Santa. That's one of the most important thing in my opinion. The Northern Lights, education, freedom, happy country. Perfect. You know already quite much about Finland. Best elementary education system. I also truly believe that I'm really happy about our education system. Perfect. And if you still have something on your mind, you can continue on writing them into the chat screen. So Finland, I know that you all are maybe located somewhere over here at the moment, and the Finland, it is located here in the Northern Europe, in here. So our neighbor in the east is Russia, and then our neighbor in the west is the Sweden. We also share a little bit border with the Norway, but we are the one of the Scandinavian country or the Nordic countries located in the northern of the Europe. And I also noticed that some of you also wrote about #1 country in education and happiness and the best education system. I'm happy that you already know and kind of like those are the words that come to your mind when you're thinking about Finland. So let's take a quick look at some of the interesting facts about Finland, and then let's move on for the education system. So our population, it's rather small comparing to India's population. It is around 5.6 million in Finland. But we also enjoy a high life expectancy, which is 79 years for the men and 85 for women. The Finland, it is a republic with the parliamentary democracy, and the Finland's capital is Helsinki. And the Helsinki has about 1.4 million inhabitants in the metropolitan area. So to put it in perspective, the Finland's population is much smaller than in India. I know it, and sometimes it's hard to compare something that we know that is so small and something else is so big. But even though that we are a small country, we are known for our innovations. Somebody you mentioned also the Alvar Aalto, one of the great Finnish architecture, and also the Santa Claus. Well, you cannot say if the Santa Claus really exists, but still many people knows that Santas come from Finland. But also nowadays the popular gaming companies like a Supercell, or maybe you have heard about the Rovio and Angry Birds, and also the Nokia, former mobile phone company. They are all Finnish companies also. And one thing about when we talk about the Finland, when we're speaking about the climate, we have had reading from the news that you have had really hot summers in India, and in Finland we have like a great contrast with the weathers, because in the winter's times we can get extremely cold. The temperature might drop up to -39 degrees, which is like really cold for us as well. But in the summer's time, we still have like really warm summers, up to 33 degrees, which is like really hot for us. And I think the 33 is something that if you need a break from the heat, that Finland might be just a place for you. Okay, so that was a little bit Finland in facts. So now that we have placed the Finland on the map, I think it's time to dive into what make Finnish education to stand out on the global stage. So when people think of Finland education system, they often think of our emphasis on equality, also on the students' well-being, and also on the innovative approaches that we take to the learning. The Finnish education is built on the belief that every child deserves an equal opportunity to succeed. And we also focus on creating a learning environment that nurtures like both academic skills and also the personal development. And I think also that this approach is one of the things that has gained a worldwide attention and also recognition. But like some of you also mentioned, that there's this another point also worth of mentioning, that Finland is also the regularly ranked as the world happiest country. And I believe that this is not just a coincidence, because I believe that our education system, it also plays a huge role in shaping our society and supporting the well-being and happiness of the future generations. We believe that the education, it should help the students thrive, and not only as a learners, but as an individuals who feel connected and valued and prepared for life. So what makes the Finnish education so special? And let's trying to starting to find out this together. And let's start by taking a closer look on how our education system is structured. Here. So I will show you an overview of the Finnish education model. And this also help you to kind of like understanding more better how it's structured. And also this education models, it reflects on our commitment here in Finland of kind of like creating a strong foundation for the lifelong learning, and also ensuring the kind of like a flexible pathways for every student. So the journey in Finnish education system, it starts here on the early childhood education and care. Here the emphasis is on the learning through play. The emphasis also in the social interaction and the discovery. It's not on the academic skills. The children, they will learn about the letters and numbers in early childhood education, but we are not aiming at. So this stage is considered the foundational for the lifelong learning, helping children to develop the essential skills like curiosity and social understanding from early age. And this is kind of like a foundation for the learning that we believe. So then we move on for the next stage when the children are 6 years of old. It's pre-primary education. And this pre-primary education, it serves as a gentle transition into the more structured learning. Here the children begins to building a foundational academic skills while continuing to learn through play, ensuring that they move into the formal education is smooth and supportive. So this pre-primary education state will last for 1 year, is the free of charge, and it's for every Finnish children. So when children turn to 7 years old, they will move on for the next phase, and which is a basic education. So the basic education starts at age 7 and it continues for 9 years. It will covers a primary and lower secondary levels. The basic education in Finland is the free of charge, and it's designed to be inclusive and is ensuring that every student receive an equal opportunities. And in Finland, we focus also on the holistic development and not just an academic skills and supporting the each student personal growth, well-being, and also the life skills, just as critical thinking. So after completing the basic education, the student have two main paths, which is a general upper secondary education over here, or the vocational qualification in here. So in the general upper secondary education, it prepares students primarily for the university studies, focusing on the broad academic subjects. This vocational education, in the other hand, it will provide students with the practical skills directly applicable to the workforce. So, however, this an important feature of the Finnish system is that these paths are flexible, which means that there are no dead ends. Students who choose the vocational training can still apply for the universities. So thanks to our kind of like BRIC programs and additionally qualifications allowing them to continue their studies if they wish. Because in many cases, when the students enter comprehensive school, they might have difficulties to know what they're wanting to do when they're growing up. And this is something that we want to keep flexible We want to reduce the stress level of the children and making them choose either path they want, and they still can apply for the higher education for the universities or for the universities of applied science. So finally, on our education model, the students may pursue the higher education at universities or the University of Applied Science. And this stage kind of like a further emphasis on the research, on the innovation, and for the specialized skills, preparing the students for the advanced career opportunities. And I really believe that this flexible structure and commitment to equal access to the education ensure that each individual can find their own path and adapt as their interests and goals evolve. So now let's take next a closer look of some of the unique practices that make each stage of these models impactful. So here is the 5 things that I have personally also noticed that these are the things that many of the people who are coming abroad to see and visit in the Finnish preschools or kindergartens or primary schools, and they have found these really interesting. So the first unique Finnish practices in education is the emphasis on the well-being and holistic development. Because the Finnish education, we have said also many times that it's not about the academic skills. It's not only about the academic skills, but it's about nurturing the whole individual, also socially, emotionally, and physically. And schools work to create a balanced environment where the students feel valued and supported in every aspect of their growth. The second thing that I find unique, in my opinion also, is the equal access and inclusivity, which are the cornerstone of our system. In Finland, we believe that every child deserves the same opportunities to succeed, regardless of their background or their abilities or where they live. And these schools are designed to be inclusive and also adapting a teaching method and resources to meet the diverse needs of all students. It's normal things in Finland that in one classroom there's a different kind of like learners. Some of them need more support, some of them doesn't need that much, and the teachers need to take care of each one of these students. The third aspect of the unique Finnish practices is this that a major factor of quality in Finnish education is that our highly educated and autonomous teachers. In Finland, the teachers is a highly respected profession, and the teachers hold at least a master degree, and they undergo really good training. They are really trusted as an expert in their field, and they are given the freedom to design their own lessons and adapt teaching method to best meet the needs of their students. And I really believe that this autonomy fosters creativity and also innovations in the classrooms. Also next, in terms of assessment, in Finland, we have like really minimal standardized testing. So instead of doing frequent exams, we rely on kind of like a continuous personalized assessment, which kind of like allows the teachers to focus on each student progress without the pressure of like a testing. And I really believe that this approach is encouraged kind of like a deeper learning, and it's also really reduced the stress among the students. So lastly, there's a strong emphasis on the lifelong learning and also the flexibility in our system. The Finnish students are encouraged to follow their own paths and with no kind of like rigid tracks or dead ends. And even the student who choose this vocational school, like I mentioned, they can also continue for the higher education. And this way we can ensure that everyone has the chance to pursue their goals and adapt as their interests evolve during the times. So I believe that together these few examples and these practices kind of like create unique and kind of like a supportive educational environment and which focusing on the individual well-being and development of each student. So maybe some of you at the moment is thinking that, well, could these Finnish practices also work here? Because I know that maybe some of you now thinking that the Finland is a small country, it is really north, and our education system is like uniquely designed with the Finnish children in mind. And kind of like Finland is shaped by our culture and our climate and our values. Still, however, I believe that some of these principles, they really can benefit students globally, also in India as well. So as we explore these unique Finnish practices, I kind of like encourage you to kind of like consider how they might inspire the new approaches in your school and in your classroom. For instance, let's think about the impact of emphasizing the well-being in education. If you're emphasizing the well-being education, how might this shift affect the student engagement and learning outcomes? Could implementing, for example, shorter, more frequent breaks or maybe daily mindfulness session, can they help to manage the student stress and create a calmer or more focused learning environment? We also in Finland place a great value on the teacher's autonomy, and you can think about what could it be possible if the teachers had more freedom to tailor lessons to their students' needs. How might creative and personalized approaches benefit and not only students but also the educators by fostering a sense of ownership in the classroom? So another distinct characteristic of our system is the reduced reliance on the standardized testing. So what if we could ensure the quality of the education without the pressure of frequent exams? And could we implement, for example, project-based assessment or portfolios and different kind of like ways to evaluate student? And could we make it provide a richer, more comprehensive view of the student abilities and focusing on their development rather than just their test scores? Also, the inclusivity, as I mentioned, is also the heart of the Finnish education. So you can imagine a classroom where every child feels belong, regardless of their background or abilities, and what practices could be introduced to make learning more accessible and foster a deeper sense of belonging of each student. And lastly, like we focus on heavily on lifelong learning in today's fast-paced world, I think it's essential that our students become resilient and adaptable and are equipped with the skills to grow and learn independently. So these questions are meant to inspire and kind of like a spark reflection as you consider them. Think about the possibilities that these ideas could open in your schools and making the education more meaningful and accessible and effective for every student. I believe that the Finnish approach is not one size fits all solution, but perhaps some of these practices could support also your vision for education in India as well. So one of the most impactful ways to truly understand the Finnish education model is experiencing it firsthand. So here on the slide, I just covered a few photos from the previous education visit that we have hosted. And these visits provide participants with the unique opportunities to step into the Finnish classroom and also observe the teaching practices and connect with the local educators who bring the educational values to life every day. So in this visit, you will see how we prioritize the well-being and autonomy for the students and how the teachers manage their classroom and without them kind of like a heavy reliance on standardized testing and also to foster a strong sense of community and equality. And I think really believe that by seeing these practices close, it is easier to kind of like envision how the elements of the Finnish education can be adapted to suit your own schools or kindergartens and communities as well. So these photos only capture some of the moments from our past study visit, and each of them has filled with the learning and sharing and inspiring discussion. So as you know that we have here to talk about our study visit program with Onni Education and also with Edup Connect. It is designed to give the participant and the truly immersive experiences of the Finnish education system. And the participant will have the chance to engage with a variety of the education and cultural experiences, and also providing a comprehensive view of the Finnish educational practices in action. In the visit, we will beginning of the introducing the Finnish education system more deeply, and then we dive into the foundation principles and also these practices that support the student well-being and creativity and lifelong learning. And without this, in this study visit, you as a participant have a possibility to visit kind of like various educational institutions, including also the kindergarten and pre-primary and primary and secondary schools, and also in the vocational institutions. So, and also in addition to the school visit, we also hold workshop and this kind of like a professional development session to kind of like a conversation and discuss about the things that you have witnessed and also noticing. So on my behalf, thank you all for being here today and also your interest in exploring the Finnish education with us. And also if you have any question on your mind, I would have been really happy to kind of like discuss anything that you have on your mind at the moment. But thank you once again for your time and engagement, and don't hesitate to make questions or reach out if there anything that you would like to ask from us after this session. Perfect. So I will mm, be noting that there's a few questions that I will close first these slides. And if you have any kind of like other question on your mind, please go ahead and write them in the chat screen.
We have a question in the chat box.
Perfect. I open it. Yes. Is it this? What do you mean by holistic education? Yes. Perfect. I think I mentioned it few times, and maybe it's some of the elements that I also kind of like value really much, and it's kind of like a clear for me, and it's good that kind of like you ask about what it means. It means that when we talk about the holistic education, we talk about the developing the whole individual, which means that rather more than focusing on the academic achievement, we've kind of like emphasized the importance of the fostering the well-rounded development of all students. This is what I mean by that. And also think that I have been witnessed many times with my student that there might be a student who is not that good at the school, but they are really good of doing something else. And if we find that something else that the students are interested and they are happy about it, maybe we can benefit out it and develop the children also in the academic success. So it's understanding the children as a whole and not only by through the academic success. That may be something that I mention about that. Perfect. And then there is also another question: how to develop the interest in a child if the child is not interested in writing in the class. This is also one of the questions that I kind of like faced many times, because in Finland education we kind of like strongly kind of like emphasize the children's own interest, and kind of like utilize those interests on kind of like creating and planning the education more further. So what do we do if the children is not interested about anything and or interested in writing? We're trying to utilize the things that the children are interested in, because we believe that every children have something that they are interested on. It might be something else than school. It might be cars, or it might be football, or it might be something. And if we can utilize this interest to make to raise the interest on something else, then we can kind of like help the children to find motivation to do also those things that the child doesn't feel so motivated in. In Finland, we say it many times that you shouldn't force your child into anything unless if your child is not interested in anything, then you should force the child to do everything. Which means exactly that we need to help the child to find one passion for child's life, and then we can utilize that passion to raise interest in other new things. That's something that comes to my mind at the moment. I hope you catch something that on my ideas on that. Yeah, and there is also another question that is a bit similar. The biggest issues lies is to develop an interest in a child, and how can we successfully make child attempts towards subjects. And maybe this is in Finland is also pretty. Maybe I believe that one of the ways that we can help with this is that offering the teachers the autonomy to kind of like plan and evaluate their own way of teaching differently. Because if I'm thinking my own classes that I have been teaching, I have been noting that they are all different. Each student is the different, but also the classes are different. So there is no way that I can teach each class the same way as I did them like 1 year ago. So I have to come up with a different kind of like a teaching methods, different kind of utilize the different kind of like teaching methods what are best suitable for my own class. And I believe that this way we can kind of like also help the children to kind of like help the children to raise also the interest for the new things. Then there's one question is about, can somebody please explain me what mucking up a text or table, what does it mean? I'm not pretty familiar with that.
Is it about rote learning?
Okay,
Yes.
it's about kind of like a
It's about rote learning. You just read and just learn. You don't understand anything, just remember everything.
okay, perfect. That's a really good question, and now I kind of like understood it. That was the new English word for me. I think. Uh, yeah, well, that's also one of the interesting questions about kind of like memorizing or kind of like mucking up. It might be sometimes be a helpful tool in the learning, but in my opinion, it shouldn't be the foundation of the effective education, because I think the understanding is the key. The true learning happens when the student understand the why and how behind of the information, and the students learn to utilize the learning, and not only by memorizing without understanding in the short term. And I also believe that if I would say it like this, that I think that we as a teachers, we should focus on the things to teach skills to the students that they cannot Google by using their smartphones. I give an example of this. Let's say that you would teach your students that what is the capital of let's say, what is the capital of Finland? And if your students doesn't know it, they can take their smartphones and Google and search for the capital of Finland. They will have that information immediately. But if you as a teacher would teach them to what is the most important town of India, let's say, and they cannot go to the Google and write there that what is the most important town, because in order to answer for that question, the student need to read and understand and reflect and make their own opinions. And this is something that we are focusing on the Finland. Of course, we do the memorization as well. We have to remember the names of the neighbor countries and European countries and so on. But I think the emphasis is on the understanding and also in the other cognitive skills rather than just memorization. The memorization can be useful sometimes, but if we only depends on that kind of like a learning, I believe that it isn't that effective. I hope I gave you some clear answer for that. But this is also one of the really important and good questions.
We got one another question about how we can make teaching practically and interested.
That's cool. That's good to know. I think that the Finnish teachers are especially good at this because of course, I have solved some of the children who say that they are not that interested to going into the schools. But in generally speaking, the schools are the place where the children love to go. They love to spend time into the schools. And one of the reasons is that of course, there are subjects that children are not interested in. But in the many cases, the schools are not only the place to gather academic knowledge. They are also the place to kind of like develop yourself, setting up the band camp and doing things with your friends that you love. And I believe that if we are able to make the school to the place where everybody would be joining to come, they would be also more motivated to do the things that they are maybe not that interested of doing. When I'm thinking my own school years when I was small, I really loved to went to the school every day. I loved to meet my friends, but I wasn't maybe that interested on receiving the academic skills, and I wasn't stressed about it because the school was not only the place to gain the academics knowledge. That's maybe something that I had on my mind on that. Then there's questions about uh, social media inclination with the student, especially with the high school children. I also have to say that this is a challenge also here in Finland. Our education system is good, but we also have our challenges. And one of the challenges that we are facing at the moment is the smartphone and distraction for the education for that. And maybe next year, our government is making the law that denies the smartphone into the schools. But let's see what is going to happen. I believe, in my personal opinion, this is not only about the school task. I think this also is something that we need to do together with the parents and educators. We need to kind of like set the boundaries together and having the open conversation together with the parents. It's not something that the teachers in the schools can do independently. And this is also a really interesting topic. I don't have any like a real clear or simple solution for this. I just say that we have been thinking and planning this in Finland also for a while at the moment, and that's why I believe that this is something that we are not going to solve in the next few years, but we are definitely going to kind of like find solution for this, because I also believe that it's not the solution to make it forbidden, because we need to understand that these children who are at the school at the moment, the high school student and the younger ones, they are going to need the smartphone and the social media in the future. So how can we benefit out of it? How can we help them to use that in responsible way with not distraction, the education and life in general? So that is also one of the interesting thing, as we maybe this would be one of the things that we could discuss together for the group that here in Finland as well, and maybe we have at that time also the better solutions. Yes. Oh, there are so many questions. I could pick up here, and also the things. Can you list some of the vocational subject being taught? So I'm currently I'm a teacher in the vocational school at the moment. I'm teaching the future professionals who's working in the schools and also in the kindergartens. In my school, where I'm working at the moment, we teach over 60 different subjects and 60 different professionals, like painters and hairdressers and chefs, but also like an assistant that works in the laboratories, and movie makers, photographers. There are so many different kind of like a subject. And the vocational education in Finland is also one of the things that has now gained more and more global attention, because it's something that many countries is lacking. And the vocational schools is the one of the um, is the one of the things that have raised the global interest at the moment. But there is so many different kind of vocational subjects to be picked up for the student's point of view, and at the moment there is some of the fields that there is lots of kind of like interest at the moment, and they are difficult to get in, and it there is a like a bit variety on that on each year. Yes, the virtual educational exchange programs, that could be also one interesting opportunity to start developing at the moment. Then there is a questions about, if I understood it this right, the major challenge facing the current generations of using the artificial intelligence at the moment. That is also a really good question. At the moment, the Finnish Education Ministry have offered many trainings for the teachers at the moment, and I have been also attending for them. And our opinion for artificial intelligence is at the moment that we are teachers need to learn how to utilize it. There is no need to denying it. We have to know that the children are quite capable. The student can use it already, and we just need to know how and how we are going to teach it for the students. And there is a many of solution that ease teachers' work at the moment, and there's so many things that ease also the student work, and we should look positively towards artificial intelligence, because I believe that that is one of the mega trends for the future that will affect for the students' lives when they grow up and when they go for the work life. And I also believe that one of the main tasks of the education system is to prepare children for their future life. So that's why we don't want to deny it. and we need to help children to learn to using it. Yes, then there's also questions about inclusion in the education, and in the Finnish education, it is strongly inclusive, and we believe that every children should have an opportunity to study in their nearest school, which means that the children doesn't go after the support, but the support is coming where the children needing it. And that leads to the fact, like I say, that it is also a challenge for the teachers, which means that the teachers need to taught the same class, whereas the students who need strong support and also the children who doesn't need any support at all. So this has been one of the core values of the Finnish education. It still brings challenges for us, to be honest, but we have come up with really good ways of how to support these children as well. Of course, if this support is really strong, then we have also the class and also the schools for those children. But in general speaking, every student has an opportunity to study in their nearby school. That is one of the things that is also really important. And if you for those group who is attending to the school visit in Finland, I have been taking the one group for the school where is an inclusive groups, but also the groups for separate learning. But they also doing a cooperation with the normal schools as well. Perfect, and there's a good point, and of course we are building this program together with the Edup Connect, and also based on your wish and hopes. So all of your hope and wishes is important, and they are noted.
Okay, there is one question about how much time will they spend if they visit Finland, and how many school, and if you can give some points on the visit during the
Yeah,
academic part of that visit.
that's a good question as well. So we have a planned to have 4 days on visiting the different educational facilities in Finland. I would say that depending also a little bit about the interest of the participant, I would say that each day we will visit the 2 different places. So we will start by, I was planning and how we have been doing this previously. We're starting on the kindergarten to the preschool, then to the primary school, and then for the high schools and vocational schools. And if the if the group is interested, maybe for the universities or University of Applied Science. One of the visits have been lasting for few hours. We have been planning. There's a different ways that we can do. The one way is that this participant will have time to observe a lessons, and after that we have like a feedback session with the teachers to kind of like understand more better what happened in the classroom. That is also the reason that maybe some of you can know how to speak Finnish, but in many cases you don't understand what's happened in the classroom, and you really need to kind of like make question for the teachers to understand it. And also there's a few places that I would like to only show in the point of the learning environment. These are really new, and they are the modern learning environment. And maybe we can do that trip on 1 hour and spend more time on the school when you have a possibility to observe also the lessons.
Along with the schools, we are also added the forest school as well, right?
Exactly. In Finland, we are utilizing a lot of the our environment, and in Finland, we also have the cleanest air in the world, and we have lots of forest. So of course we are utilizing the forest education as well. When I was a teacher in the pre-primary education for 10 years ago, we had a one group that was outside every day, all the day, like 4 hours a day, only outside. And I believe that in this way, it's lots about the teacher's professionality on how they can utilize the different environment, but also the materials. And they need to come up with really creative ways to kind of like teach and the children's. But we also, yes, we are going to hold one session also outside. In Finland, the majority of the student is teaching in Finnish. Finnish, which is our national language. We have two national languages. Another one is Swedish, but we also have more and more English speaking families in Finland. But I also have to say that in Finland we do not have that much private schools, and that is also one of the reasons why there isn't that much English speaking schools in Finland. But I know a few of them, but that's not that much. The main language is Finnish.
If the participant visit Finland, then what would be the top learning which they can have while they return from the visit?
What do you mean? What would be the language of?
One of the participants have asked that it's regarding the tour. What we would like to know what we learn over there.
Well, in Finland, I have to say that we have pretty good language skills of the citizens. So almost everyone will speak English, and that's something that has been taught for the children when they're starting their school. So the English language is the widely known and spoken in Finland. And of course, in this group, you will have like one people fully on with you whole day, every day to discuss and conversate and making and also be the translation if needed as well.
Okay, what in terms of academics? What are the academical? What's that academically learn while they visit Finland?
Academic. Now
What is
I'm not
the
quite sure.
academic
Did I?
learning they have? What
Yeah.
are the academic learning they have while they visit Finland?
The academic learning. You mean the participants?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not quite sure. Did I catch you? So just correct me if I didn't understand your question. But when visiting in Finland and when we have opportunity to go into the classrooms on kindergarten and preschool and high schools and vocational schools, and trying to arrange the time also for having the feedback with the principal or with the teacher to understand about what was the academic things that they used in the classrooms, even though that you might not understand the language as well. And also I have to say that when I say that in the Finland, the mainly spoken language is Finnish, but when we are entering for the University of Applied Science, we have more and more English speaking courses also for the students.
I believe we are done.
I believe we are done. I'm really
Yes.
happy to be here and thank you all for really fantastic and good questions. And they are really important questions. I'm happy that you made them. I was happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining today. And we hope that you have gained valuable insights about the Finnish education system. And if you like to know more about the education system and about this visit, you can reach out to us. I'll mention the feedback form over here. We would like to know your feedback. We would be definitely great if you can help us with the feedback. It will be help us to provide you the better understanding in future. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.